Excited to be echoing off of the plaza. I'm excited to start our first full day in the office. We took the orange line today and actually arrived quite early. The train came right away, and it was a wonderful ride where I got to hear from many residents across the city, and folks were sharing some of their thoughts and hopes and challenges already, and then even had time to make a quick CVS run before dropping off my things inside. Today we are focusing on making sure we're continuing to build out the team, have some internal meetings scheduled on big issues pressing before the city. I'll be making a quick run up to the State House to sit with Governor Baker in mid-morning, and then back here to continue meeting with staff internally.
I'd like to ask about the school committee. Do you expect to keep committee members that Kim Janey appointed, Blanco and Para, or are you going to appoint your own?
I'm just getting settled and had gotten the list of everyone who had applied in this round to either reappoint or appoint members, and so there's a short list of folks that I have not yet had the chance to go through, but we'll hope to speak with some of these individuals and move quickly on that.
What do you look for in school committee members? Just talking about that.
This is a very direct and personal issue for me, as the kids are back in school today, thankfully, and so I feel every day the impact that our school committee members have and that our schools have on our kids and our families. We need to be having larger conversations about how the structure of how we make decisions about our schools has to have more community feedback, has to be more closely tied to the reality of families on the ground. And so as we are thinking about bigger picture changes to the structure of the school committee and governance, we need to be pushing for members who already, given the structure that we currently have, already want to be pushing in that direction. I've spoken with the superintendent and chair of the school committee already about moving towards more community listening sessions out in the neighborhoods, for example, rather than only having school committee meetings where residents can testify for 2 minutes late at night. We've talked about really wanting to push for multilingual outreach to be part of every phase of decision making, and most important, there are still very pressing issues related to pandemic recovery that I want to ensure that our school leaders and district leaders have a firm grasp on.
What are you going to talk with the governor about?
This will be a pretty high level. Well, we'll see, but this, the intention is that this is our first sit down and a pretty high level conversation about issues that the city and the state are both involved in. I know certainly at and near the top of that list is the crises at Mass Ave and Melia Cass Boulevard and the ways we need to continue moving quickly. Public transportation and how we can continue partnering for reliable, accessible, affordable service for Boston residents, our larger housing crisis, and ways in which we can be moving towards resolution on some of the issues right before our schools as well.
How would you describe your relationship with Governor Baker before the election?
It was nice to see him yesterday at the swearing in. We have not had too much interaction over the years. I have been focused on city issues and on the council advocating for the ways in which Boston residents rely on both city and state, as well as county and federal government to be more responsive. And so I'm looking forward to building that relationship and getting into the nitty-gritty of issues today.
The ACLU of Massachusetts is over at Suffolk County Superior Court today to try to stop the city from forcing people out of the area of Mass and Cass. Are you able to comment on that at all? And also, if you could also comment on the plan for Shattuck.
The crises at Mass Ave and Melia Cass Boulevard are top of mind for residents across Boston, as well as all the departments working within City Hall and across city government. We are in court today responding to the concerns and the lawsuit, the litigation that is happening. We will be pausing the removals while this is pending and working with the team that we've assembled, Dr. Burrell leading the charge on that, Dr. Monica Burrell leading the charge, along with Dr. Ojikutu and Chief Dillon, to ensure that we're bringing a public health and housing first lens. And sorry, there's a second part to your question?
So you are pausing the removal of people at Mass and Cass right now while
Yes.
Okay. And then my second question was about
The Shattuck.
the plan for the cabins at the Shattuck Hospital campus in Jamaica Plain and what you hope to see happen with that.
Yeah. Every day that goes by, temperatures are colder and colder, and it is life or death for our residents who are unhoused living on the street. And so we need to move quickly to find short-term solutions for stable, low-threshold housing. Certainly this will be part of my conversation with the governor later today, as well as the work that we are doing internally to continue to identify even more options for that kind of immediate housing.
Elaborate on that pause a little bit. Like, when did that start? What would happen for it? Is that just through the judge's decision on temporary restraining order?
Yes.
Anything else you can say about it?
We are in court today and going to be pausing removals pending the outcome of that legal process.
I know you said yesterday that Labor Secretary Marty Walsh sent you a text as far as the inauguration. Was he invited to the inauguration?
I was very excited and honored that Mayor Kim Janey was present and passing the torch on. This was a chance for us to really focus on the short-term, very quick transition. I'm grateful to Mayor Walsh for his leadership and look forward to working very closely with him and in his capacity now as an important leader for our city, in his capacity as a former mayor, where I will be certainly seeking his advice along with Mayor Flynn and others who have been part of previous administrations. But I hope and anticipate that he and Mayor Flynn and everyone will be part of our larger official inauguration in January.
Can you talk about why that's an important thing for you to do, and also how maybe it helps you to connect with Bostonians that maybe you wouldn't interact with on a daily basis?
If I have to get from Rosendale to City Hall during rush hour, the T is the fastest way to get here. And so I intend to continue taking that wherever and whenever possible. Yesterday we were able to hop on the Green Line from where I was with the family over to City Hall for our ceremonies, and today was just from home to Forest Hills to State Street. It is a chance also to understand how the T itself is working, that today the train came quite quickly, was not delayed at all at any of the stops, but it was quite full already. And we are back approaching ridership that I remember pre-pandemic in the morning commute. Sometimes you couldn't even get on the train at certain points. And so we are seeing that there's a huge demand as our businesses are opening back up, as people are wanting to get back to in-person meetings and work. And one of the fellow commuters I spoke with today was a baker at one of our local coffee shops who on her day off was going to visit the aquarium and taking the T to get there. I spoke with a mom who lives in Mattapan who is concerned about the options available for her 4-year-old as we're thinking about school choices and entering a new registration period. So it's important to also get a sense of how our city is doing, and to have that chance to connect with people is a true honor and inspiration for me every day.
We spoke to Mayor Janey yesterday, and we asked if she had any advice for you before taking the office. She said she was going to leave a note in the desk. Can you share what was in that note?
I mean, Mayor Janey, and she says we're in constant contact. We're texting all day, but she left a couple things for me. One was a beautiful note to remind me always that the most important and meaningful part of this job is being out in community and connecting with our residents to really see what's possible for our city. She also left a bin of activities, one for each of the boys, that came from the Children's Museum with age-appropriate things, which immediately ended up all over the office. And she left a print that she's described in so many of her remarks lately of the silhouette of Kamala Harris and Ruby Bridges that she had signed and left a little message on.
Mayor, how are you feeling today? It's your first full day as mayor.
I'm very excited that I don't have to give any speeches today. I don't have any major events today. It is just about getting to do the work. And there was a moment of confusion. I had gone to CVS, walked in the door, and then realized I wasn't supposed to keep going how I used to go up the stairs and to the left, and so there's a slightly new change in just a bit of the daily routine, but it's still coming into this building that I love with people who I treasure working alongside, and we're going to get to work very urgently on the big issues that are ahead.
Are your sons excited to make their return back to the mayor's office to visit you again?
Well, today they had to just get dragged to get up to go to school, and that was back to school. Yeah, they are very excited. I think we are going to make sure that every one of our spaces in the city, whether it is the mayor's office or boardrooms or community events, are family friendly, are spaces where everyone feels seen and welcome and part of, and so if Blazing Cast can make sure that they keep us grounded in that, I welcome it.
Circling back real quick on the massive gas issue, is the idea that a court's rule against the ACLU in Port City with the restraining order, that efforts there would resume?
Not necessarily. We are in the process of working with the team, and Dr. Burrell is going to be leading these efforts and making sure that the city has our proactive look at what the right policies are, and especially how we focus on bringing low threshold, stable supportive housing into part of that policy. I think across the board there is agreement that we need to take a public health lens and a housing lens to this crisis, and how that actually ends up connecting with people's experience on the ground matters a great deal. And so we're going to be looking at all of that, from the policy all the way down to what is happening on the streets. Yesterday we had a couple meetings internally, one with our scheduling and advance team, just to start to set the pace of what the next weeks and end of the year will look like, and then our first meeting with the mayor's office staff at large. The Eagle Room was filled with probably a couple dozen people, and that was the first chance to really share what my administration's priorities will be and how we will drive progress in this city. And I talked about how, first, everything that we do should focus on the big and the small, and that we get to do the big by getting the small things right, by earning trust of residents in being responsive to people's daily needs, constituent services, and the basic city services. Second, getting City Hall out of City Hall into our neighborhoods to listen and learn and follow the lead of our residents in our communities and move with the urgency of our communities. And third, to embrace the possibility of Boston and of city government to be reaching beyond how things always have been done. And so I will have more to say on the specifics in January, when we will reconvene for the official start of our new city government across the mayor's office and city council. But what I put forward and what our team has been pushing for on the campaign trail and now on our first day is to truly make Boston a city for everyone. And so that is what I intend to be judged by.
After you finish here with us today, what's the first thing on your list?
Internal meetings to think about how we continue to put together some of the pieces on major issues that are pressing, as well as building out the rest of the team and working our way through major posts and who might be serving in some of those roles.
Your words in all your supporters in Asian community.
今天是我们第一天在波士顿 City Hall， 真的非常荣幸，非常高兴可以和大家的支持往全社区、全家庭、全城市的这个这样子的目标。我们现在从学校方面、教育方面、房租方面和就是冬天准备冬天天气的方面有很多工作，所以我们现在每天都努力的工作，然后希望大家可以跟我们一起 继续的就支持我们在波士顿的这些工作。Sure. Hoy es el primer día de nuestra administración nueva y es muy importante de continuar el progreso de crear la colaboración con todas las comunidades. Esta mañana todavía estaba en el transporte público con muchos miembros de la comunidad. Estaba hablando con una madre con una niña en las escuelas que necesita un puesto en el año próximo con cuestiones y dificultades en la registración. Hablaba con un empleo de un restaurante en el barrio que hay una oportunidad de visitar el aquarium y también es un día para implementar todas las esperanzas de la comunidad. Entonces también hay muchas cuestiones muy urgentes en la comunidad, por ejemplo la situación en Mass Ave y Melnia Cass Boulevard, donde es una crisis, muchas crisis de desamparo, de crisis de opaceos y también de salud pública y salud mental. Tenemos un equipo con expertos en cada área y tenemos un plan para acelerar el progreso en este caso. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, Chuti, sorry, last one. Anything I haven't made decisions on? Oh, decisions since yesterday? What time is it? It's been not even an hour. Decisions I've made since yesterday. Well, there's some internal conversations about issues that are ongoing, particularly within our schools and around the situation at Mass Ave, Melnia Cass Boulevard, but many of those were just making sure that we have conversations scheduled for today that hopefully in the next couple of days will get resolved with more news to come. Great. Thank you, everyone.